would say that social media is an increasingly important part of what we do. So for instance, as part of my normal day on Impact Asia on BBC World News, the programme I present, I would put a Facebook update about what I was doing in the programme. I try and put 2 or 3 stories in there, and there's a big audience response, even bigger sometimes when we deal with a particularly controversial story. So I remember the other day putting something down about the Ground Zero Mosque stroke Islamic Centre, and there was a massive response to that. So when we suddenly get 500 responses on Facebook, I think, okay, this is definitely a good story. Well, the team drive the news agenda, but I would say that certainly we take on board things that people say, and people put through all kinds of, I've had guest suggestions through Twitter and indeed through Facebook that we've followed up on, and I would then check them out. And but also it's just a really good way to take the pulse of the audience, and also you can do more fun things on Twitter. I mean, while I've been in Hong Kong, even when I'm not here for broadcast, I've said, okay, I'm in Hong Kong, what shall I do? And people send in all kinds of suggestions, and that's really fun. So I do regard it as a two-way conversation. And
how do you moderate it? How do you make sure that?
Well, I haven't really. I suppose I've been doing this for about 6 months or so, and I haven't had any bad experiences. People do, of course, sometimes take issue with things, but I think that's all par for the course. Well, we do have quite strict guidelines for BBC use of Twitter, and some BBC staff have personal Twitter accounts. I don't. Mine is a BBC account. So generally, I'm very, very mindful of those guidelines. So everything that I put on Twitter will, I'll have run it past someone else in the newsroom, so that there's a second pair of eyes. And I generally start to think, is this something I would say live on air or not? So. But generally I think that actually it's a pretty accurate reflection of who I am and the kinds of things I'm thinking about, and I don't really feel constrained. It's another kind of conversation. It's a complement to what we do on air and what we do on Facebook, what we do on BBC.com. But I think these are all parts of the puzzle.